You're watching the Red Line Radio Network.
Renegades! Let's ride! Steel City Renegades lead the way! Listen up, now they got a lot to say. Dynamite Dave and that loudmouth D's. Renegades bringing it if you please. Turn it up, hear the whole world say. Whoa, Steel City Renegades. Black and gold, legends never fade. Whoa, turn it loud, let it play. Renegades rule the airwaves. From the Steeler Nation we rise and say, here we go, Steelers. Here we go.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Steel City Renegades right here on Red Line Network. I am D's. Over there next to me, we got Dynamite Dave. We are going to talk all about Friday night's 17-0 preseason loss to the Jets right here, or there, I should say. I'm not in Pittsburgh. At Acrisure, learned a lot of things. First and foremost, the guarantee that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to play like absolute horseshit when D's is streaming live is fully intact, because it is a fucking undefeated streak. We have not looked decent in any game that I've tried to stream live.
Ah, D's. So how'd that go for you, man? Did you get any negative comments in the chat?
Not really. It went good. It went better than the game went. I mean,
I bet. That game
it's
was
not. Yeah, it's not all doom and gloom. There are some things that we saw that we liked, but there's things there, glaring issues that we didn't like, and we're gonna dive into as many of them as we can come up with here.
Yeah.
Obviously, first and foremost, we got to talk about the quarterbacks.
Oh my God, what a debacle that was. I mean, shit. I mean, listen, really not much good to talk about from either quarterback. Will look good on 3 or 4 plays. The rest of the plays, I don't know what's going on or what happened, but didn't look good. The 2 interceptions. Yeah, Will, you can't do that, especially in the red zone. You can't throw the ball away with inside the red zone. And the sack, like you said, D's, like that was his fault. He's trying to turn like Kenny Pickett, and it just didn't work. And then Drew had, I think, 2 or 3 good plays. The one play down the sidelines to number 81.
That was gorgeous.
That was a great catch, or great pass and great catch from him. But other than that, I don't think any of these quarterbacks really solidified their – well, D says that Drew's already got a spot on this roster, but we don't know who the backup quarterback's going to be. As of right now,
we do.
It's Mason Rudolph right now. And they're fighting
That's not changing.
They're fighting for the number 3 spot on the roster. So I need to see better play from both quarterbacks. I mean, they look good first preseason game, second preseason, not too good this third preseason game. You're probably not going to see Will or not Will, but Aaron or Mason at all.
There's no reason to, in my opinion.
It's going to be a heavy dose again of Will and a heavy dose of Drew again. So
yeah, there's
back play.
there's conflict among the nation as far as who should get the start, whether it be Aller or Will. Look, Aller's on the team. So again, this regime drafted him. He's a rookie third rounder. Zero chance that he is not making the team. They're not going to cut him. They're not going to try and bring a practice squad. He's on the team. That being said, I think Will should get the start again because he needs a redemption game. A report came out after the game from Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette saying that Will Howard was going to make the team regardless of his performance. I'm not so convinced on that. And honestly, if he comes out against Buffalo and has a similar performance that he had, I don't see how you could argue wasting a roster spot, because if he looks bad against Buffalo, the chances that you can cut and then re-sign to the practice squad are very, very good. I don't think you run the risk of losing him. Now, if he comes in and just goes back to week one, Will Howard, and lights it up, corrects those mistakes that he made, then yeah, he can make a case. But like a gun to my head right now, Will Howard's not going to make the 53 if I was the one calling the shots, because we have too many question marks on other tight roster spots. Guys that did favors for themselves, like Robert Spears Jennings. He's one of those bubble guys that Will's making the team or not making the team could affect.
Rayshon Jenkins.
Yeah. Rayshon Jenkins looked awesome. So as far as the two interceptions, there's a lot of argument back and forth about, oh, it was Will's fault. No, it was Roman Wilson's fault. Now, to be clear, and I watched these, I watched Chalk Talk by Chris Holick on DK Pittsburgh Sports, and he broke it down. Yes, it was I would say a lazy route where he drifted upfield, but I don't care. The first one was just a straight up bad decision. Will telegraphed it the whole way and threw the pass behind him. Second one, same thing. If Roman Wilson runs that route flat the way that they think that it's supposed to be a drag route, both passes are behind him and probably still get picked. So yes, Roman ran a lazy route, but the arm strength and everything to his detriment, the ball was not where it needed to be. There were other options on those plays. And then, so those both took place on the positive side of the field. One of them, I think, was inside the 30. The other one was around the 40, 45. Either way, we were kind of progressing down the field a little bit. And then the sack, Broderick Jones just got beat like he owed somebody money. And instead of stepping up into the pocket where there was room and finding a wide open Pat Freiermuth down the middle, he tries to escape out to the right, which we saw, I don't even know how many times in the short while that Kenny Pickett was here, gets the sack, makes Broderick look even worse than he already looked. But yeah, just those three plays alone were very detrimental to Will Howard's case. He wasn't all bad. There were a few plays there where I saw him, you could watch his head. He actually made progressions, and I think most of them ended up finding Ben Skoranek, who, good to see that a utility guy like that has nice hands, can make some plays for us. I mean, we saw it last year when he scored the first touchdown against the Jets in week 1. So yeah, it wasn't all doom and gloom for Will, but those kinds of mistakes, look at the scoreboard. Those 3 plays were absolute killers, and you can't have that at this level. He's going to have to get better, and I hope that he still starts against Buffalo because he needs to have a bounce back.
Yeah.
Aller, on the other hand, wasn't great by any means. However, if you compare the offensive line performance between what Will Howard had and what Drew Aller had, oh boy, as bad as they looked with Will Howard, it was 10 times worse with Drew Aller. Those guys, the backup tackles, even Dylan Cook had a bad game. Him and Broderick Jones kept coming into the game even late into the third quarter. Drew Aller had no time. He did throw some real nice passes. 5 of them were in the hands of receivers, just perfect ball placement and just flat out dropped. So if you're somebody that just gets up and looks at the box score and you see that Drew Aller was 11 of 23, you think, oh, this kid sucks. No, there should be at least 5 or 6 more completions on that left side of the column where the passes were just flat dropped. But everybody's got to get better, across the board, offensive line especially. And we don't have a whole lot of time to do it.
Yeah, you're right, Dees. And looking at the stats here for the two quarterbacks, Drew was 11 of 23 for 110 yards, 4.8-yard average, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 3 times for 29-yard loss. Will was 10 of 15, 74 yards, 4.9 yards average, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's what you got from your quarterback play. And then we go into the Steelers running back room, which you got Caleb Johnson, who you talked about big last week about you wanted to see him get more carries. He got 10 carries this past week and looked pretty decent. So he had 10 carries for 39 yards, 3.9 average. His long run was 5 yards. Rico Dowdle, he had 5 touches or 5 carries for 18 yards. Jalen Warren, them are your 1 and 2 backs. Are fighting for the third back with Caleb Johnson, Lou Nichols, Eli Heidenreich. That's who's fighting for that 3rd or 4th spot. But Caleb had a pretty decent game. And you go to your wide receivers over here. You got Lake McCree had 2 catches for 46 yards, a great catch on the sidelines to get his foot down over there with the Drew Aller catch. So just some guys to keep an eye on there. But get back to the quarterback play. Yeah, man, it wasn't good this game for neither quarterback. The line, D's, we can't stress this enough. Hopefully some veterans get released. We can pick some up with some room, because Broderick, I don't think is going to make this team, dude. I don't think Broderick's going to make this team. It's hard for him to make it if you can't play. And they kept switching Dylan Cook and Spencer Anderson in and out, left and right side. It's not looking good for this offense or this offensive line. It's not.
The only thing that I will speak on with Broderick Jones that I'm giving him just the slight benefit of the doubt is he did look decent last year. He was progressing, then he got hurt. He is still underweight. Like, they are trying to pack pounds on him. I don't think he's even over 300 pounds right now. He's on a strict high protein diet. He talked about it in the pregame. And the fact that he can play both sides. Dylan Cook, I'm not sure that I would trust him to be the swing tackle. A lot of it also is going to depend on whether or not Max Ahanator can come back this week and maybe get on the field against Buffalo and see what he can do in live action. But yeah, I would say Broderick is on the bubble, no doubt. But I think the fact that he's undersized and the experience might save his job as like offensive lineman number 9 or 10.
I mean, do you think if a veteran guy who comes available via release or cut or whatever, the Steelers look to solidify that line before they go to week 1 against Atlanta?
I think you have to. If there's anybody that gets put out there, especially a tackle that has any kind of significant starting experience, you got to at least take a look at him. And I'm not saying bring him in to be a starter, but if you saw everybody, I mean, Dylan Cook included in that, yeah, you're going to have to do something. If that means cutting Broderick, I don't know that they'll cut Dylan, but no tackle that was on the field Friday night looked season ready. Like, it just didn't. So that's why I think it's very important that we get Max out there. I don't think Max, even if Max comes back and plays Buffalo, I don't think they're going to be like, okay, you're the week 1 guy. But it's definitely going to speed up the process to where I would say by October, Max Ahanator might be right tackle number 1. But yeah, you definitely got to scour that waiver line, see if there's anybody out there that can come in and help the team.
I agree with you 100%, Dees. We got to get this fixed before the season starts, and they're probably already looking at potential guys who can be cut, maybe some veterans, maybe some guys that they looked at in the draft, or still some free agent tackles that are out there. I don't know if there's any decent names out there. Dees, you got a list of tackles, or do you know anybody off the top of your head? Is Taylor Lewan still out there, or did he retire?
No, Taylor Lewan's, he's a podcaster now. He's on ESPN with Oh God, what's busting with the boys like that?
Oh,
Yeah, it's done with Taylor for sure. Mekhi Becton's out there, but I mean he's out there for a reason. I don't know that there's a guy free agent right now that you can bring in and expect to get much out of. You're gonna have to look for these cut day guys that maybe a young guy pushed them out or they're still fighting back from injury, but they've got experience that you could bring in as a backup. I don't think you're going to go out and find a starter, regardless. Like I don't see anybody that could even potentially be released that you can bring in and plug in as your right tackle.
how about a trade? You think they make a trade before season starts? Maybe give up a second or third round for next year if they see anybody who's available.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, but again, next year, as of right now, our quarterback situation is still murky. So you don't really want to give up too much capital for next season because, as we know, next season the quarterback market's supposed to be good. So you want all the draft capital that you can possibly collect and potentially package something and move up and go get your guy. So I don't know that. I mean, it would have to be a sweet, sweet deal. I don't know that I would give up anything too promising just because of that. Right now, we don't know if our franchise quarterback is on the roster, and judging by this past weekend, he may not be. So,
Yeah, didn't look good quarterback wise. Did not look good quarterback wise, and hopefully, again, they figure out who's going to be battling for number 3 on this roster. Two good young guys. The Mark Malone said that he tried to get rid of JPJ. This guy keeps talking about getting rid of JPJ.
well, I argued with him last week, and I'm kind of leaning his way now. It's not looking good. A couple of the big insiders, they're not liking the way these negotiations are going. I don't know if it's Joey's agent or whatever trying to get too much, but again, like I reported the other day, the Steelers at this time have zero intention or reason to try and trade him because they hold all the leverage. Like if Joey wants to make that big money, he needs to come in and put it on tape. He can't sit out because his rights are still going to be there for next year. And I think the only way Pittsburgh considers trading him is if somebody comes and throws at the very least a first and a third, if not 2 firsts, because he is a top-notch corner. And as far as trading Joey, I don't know. I mean, you're talking about a bona fide, like all-pro type left tackle, and teams aren't just going to give that away because you don't have those to spare to get a number 1 corner. If anything and any trade is going to happen, it's going to be for draft capital. And at this point, I mean, if Joey's wanting over 100 million guaranteed, I don't know, man. We keep preaching you don't give up lockdown corners, but you also don't grossly overpay them. And while I think Joey deserves top 5 to 10 money, I don't think he deserves top 2 or 3 money the way it seems like his camp is asking for.
I mean, I agree with you to a certain point, Dees, but you've hyped up Joey for the last 3-4 years with him being a top 5 corner league, which he is. He is, and he deserves to have, be paid for what he's done. And who was the guy that got the big contract that we talked about from the guy before him?
Devin Weatherspoon out of Seattle, played for Illinois.
Yeah, so he got a big contract. I mean, is JPJ as good as him, do you think?
No.
Okay, so then
he's close. I don't mean to disrespect Joey because he's very, very good. I would say right now I would put Joey no worse than top 5. So I think he's in that range. I would be perfectly fine giving Joey Porter $30 million a year and like 90 or so, 95 guaranteed. I don't think, and again, I don't know the exact numbers, but given the fact that they haven't signed him yet and the reports are that they are far apart, I don't know if Joey's trying to get paid number 1, which I don't think that he has earned that yet. I think the potential is there, but it's tough, man. But again, Pittsburgh's got the leverage. Whether Joey likes it or not, Pittsburgh has the leverage. This coaching staff they don't know Joey. They haven't seen Joey. Joey hasn't practiced. So you got to think that if you're, McCarthy and Patrick Graham and everything, like, why am I going to pay this guy $109 million guaranteed when I haven't seen him do shit on the field other than sit on the bike and do cardio?
I mean, I agree with you 100%, D's, but I mean, his stats is what gets you paid in the NFL, and he's lived up to that. And he's outplayed his contract. We know that. He's a second round pick. He's outplayed his current rookie contract, and people that are with him being a top 5 corner in the league, he's going to get top 5 money, whether it be here in Pittsburgh or be somewhere else. But he's going to get top 5 money somewhere. He's going to get it.
Well, the beauty of it is he can't really sit out because then he, like I said, he comes back for another year. So at this point, if Pittsburgh wants to force his hand, he plays this year under his $4.5 million, I believe, is what his contract is for this season. And then they franchise tag him. And then you're getting something out of it. You're getting at the very least right of first refusal. So right now it's just a pissing contest between the two sides. Everybody knows that Pittsburgh has the leverage, and I don't blame Joey for trying to get his money. He deserves it for sure. I just don't think he deserves to be number one, and it looks like that may be what he's aiming for. I believe it's 10, unless they changed it when they went to a 7-game season. I remember when Le'Veon Bell did this, he had to sit, or he could sit 10 games and then come back. So I don't know if they changed that with the CBA when they added a game or not, but still, half the season, then he could come in and play. And
let me ask you this, D's, real quick. Mark Malone 279 brings up, so he'll likely sit out half of the season. Do you believe that, or do you think Joey will be on the field week 1?
I don't think he would. I would hope not. I would like to think that the legacy aspect of it, that he would just swallow his pride and get his ass out there and show everybody that he needs that money. I think only bad things can come his way if he sits out half the season. To me, that's just begging for the bad karma train.
Yeah.
Look what happened with Le'Veon Bell. He sat out a year. He got stuck with Adam Gase, got hurt, and pissed away a potentially Hall of Fame career. I don't want to see Joey go down that path.
I was just going to bring that up with Bell sitting out. I think he sat out for $1 million because the Steelers went, and the Jets only gave him $1 million more. I think it was like 13.7 the Steelers offered him, and he went to the Jets for $14.7 million. Wasn't the same running back when he went there. But again, you're right, Deez. I mean, it hurt him in the long run because he sat that year out. He wasn't the same back he was when he was in Pittsburgh. He wasn't.
Yeah. And to be fair, he was saddled with the worst coach in probably NFL history. I mean, the guy, according to Le'Veon Bell, was snorting cocaine in his office, so maybe if he would have went from Pittsburgh to, say, Kansas City, which he tried to revive his career there, but it was too late. Like if he would have went there instead of the Jets, maybe Andy Reid could have salvaged his career. But once he went to the Jets, they tried to use him in ways that Le'Veon Bell wasn't good at, and he got hurt. It was a done deal.
Yeah. Bell screwed himself by sitting the whole year. Absolutely right. Antonio Brown was batshit crazy, and he didn't even sit out a year. He just played. He played through whatever was dealt with him. But I mean, yeah, Joey. I would say Joey's on the field for week 1. I say it's 50 more. I would say it's 70-30 that he sits out week 1. I would say
in my heart of hearts, I think you're right. I think that once we get past this Buffalo game, then backs are against the wall. Somebody's going to cave, and I want him on this team. I really do. Only way I want Joey to go is if somebody comes up and says, "Here's 2 first-rounders," because then you've got as far as draft capital, you've got fuck you money to go and get the quarterback that you want. But I want Joey on this team. I think it's going to make our team better. That secondary is going to be awesome. But again, not to be all doom and gloom. If Joey decides to sit out, Asante Samuel has been killing it in camp. I think he will use that as a springboard to show the rest of the league that, hey, I'm still here, and he can go out and prove that he is also top flight corner in the league. So we'll see. We'll know a lot more here in about 8 or 9 days after this Buffalo game, what direction that they're going to head. Somebody's going to cave one way or another, in my opinion.
Now, D's, with them going to 3 preseasons games, they get a week off before the regular season starts, right?
Yeah. First game is September 13th for us. I think the season starts on that Wednesday with the game in Australia.
Damn, September 13th. That's the day I do my car show at the Moose Lodge. So hopefully I can have the Steelers game on there. It's an early
Why the
game.
fuck would you schedule a car show on opening day of the NFL?
Listen, bro. Listen, like I just remembered that when you just said that. I'm like, God damn, my car show is September 13th. We play the Falcons on the 13th. Damn, I'm gonna have to get the ESPN app and watch it on my phone while I'm there.
So funny story. Back probably 15, 20 years ago. I have a very large family, a lot of aunts, uncles, cousins. So like our family get-togethers are like 80 to 90 people, right? So they started scheduling family reunions. And the first 2 family reunions that they scheduled on that Sunday, the opening day Sunday. And me and my brother and my father, we didn't go. We refused. We're like, no, we're fucking watching. It's Steelers Sunday. We're not going. They rescheduled on year 3. They started scheduling the family reunion in July to avoid football season because we're like, no, it's just not happening.
So, D's, your brother and your dad are both Steelers fans too?
Yeah, that's how we grew up. My dad's been a Steeler fan since '69. That's I was born into it. Even though I've never lived a second in Pittsburgh, my dad has been a fan since birth for me. So that's the only team I've ever known.
So Kareem Davis here, he says on opening day, ouch. What's up, guys?
Yep.
Kareem is a fellow Steelers fan. Kareem, we're gonna have to get you on the show. Just let me know when you're available to come on, man. Maybe next week. And we got a big special guest next week that we'll reveal at the end of the show. Talk to him before the show, so he'll be on next week for sure. And then we'll see how it goes moving forward for the rest of the season with him. But yeah, man, I'm excited about, football season being here. But you know what, man? When football season gets here, that means it's the end of summer, dude. Like summer's about over already. I mean,
I'm perfectly fine with that. I really am. Like,
I'm not. I want an 80 plus every day. I can't stand this the cold weather. The older I get, the more ornery I get when it gets cold out, man. So,
well, that sucks too. But again, I'm not a huge fan of winter, but I'll take it as long as football is involved.
Yeah.
But let's talk about a couple of the good things that we saw.
Yeah, let's talk about that. D's, anybody catch your eye?
Yeah, again, Robert Spears Jennings, a couple big sticks. I think he's making a solid case to make this team. The guy that I've been talking about, telling everybody to watch, number 96, Gabe Rubio, again, showed that he is NFL capable. I'm not saying he's going to be a starter, but he is 100% going to fit into this defensive line rotation. Him and Y.A. Black, I think, are going to really be a tough 1-2 punch on the rotational aspect because both of them are very big, very strong, high motor guys. I'm excited to see what that I think we found another Brett Kiesel type, a 7th round gem that nobody heard of, but he's going to come in. He's going to make this team. And I think he's going to make everybody around him better. Landon Roberts literally comes in off the street, had 2 practices under his belt, and was in there laying the lumber down. So I'm happy to see that, he came into this defense that he already knew, even though it was vanilla. But I think he's going to be a big help stopping the run. The run defense wasn't bad, despite the fact that, we still didn't have Cam or TJ out there. I liked that they held the line pretty good. So I'm at least encouraged by that. I think we're going to see some improved play. Let's see who else. Obviously Benny Sco making plays in the passing game. Always good to see.
And two people stick out on defense for me, real quick, D's, and that is Elandon Robert, or actually three people. Elandon Roberts back in Pittsburgh. He came here for another year. He was happy to come here. He led the team with 5 total tackles, 4 solo tackles. Jack Sawyer played pretty good. He had 4 tackles and a sack, and also the former Brown, who is all over the field, Rayshawn Jenkins. Great pickup.
Can we refer to him as a former whatever other team he played for?
Yes. I mean, glad to have him on the team, man.
He's I think 10, 11 year vet. He brings that leadership presence. I don't expect him to have to start. Hopefully not. But as a rotational guy in the secondary, it's nice to have somebody with that kind of experience. I see nothing but good things from that. Definitely an improvement over guys like Juan Thornhill and other failures that we have tried to run into that safety room. And again, I'm not concerned. I know that the Jets went right down the field, but it's a vanilla defense. No Cam, no TJ, no JPJ, no Jalen Ramsey, no did Jamel Dean play? I don't remember seeing him out there.
I don't think he played. He doesn't show up on the stats at all. So
yeah, real quick. I don't think he did. So I'm not overly concerned. Now, I think there was a miscommunication on the touchdown. I don't know if it was Highsmith or Patrick Queen that was supposed to cover that tight end. I'm guessing it was probably Queen just because they typically play kind of a base man, and that should have been Patrick Queen.
Jamel Dean played one play and got one tackle. Played one play, got one tackle.
Well, hopefully he didn't get banged up or anything, but I didn't hear anything coming out of the game that I'm pretty sure we came out of there relatively healthy. So I'm not overly concerned with that. Missing some guys in straight vanilla, and preseason is really hard to judge stuff anyway, just because you only are running guys out there for small periods of time. And anybody that's played really any organized sport, but football especially, getting into that rhythm is huge. Just like the offensive line, last week it struggled early on, including, Fatanu and the big boys. It looked a little bit better. Obviously the right tackle is an issue, but I think once that group gets a full starting 5 and they play, start being able to look at tape, I think it's going to look better as they build that chemistry on the field. But it can't take too long or we're going to be in trouble, especially with a 42-year-old quarterback back there.
Yeah, Dees, you say that it's only preseason and it's vanilla. I need this defense to make some stops, man. You can't keep having these teams just go down the field each and every time. And they did it 2 straight games in a row on the first possession. And then, the Steelers on first 2 possessions of their offense, both games, 3 and outs. Like they did it with Will, they did it with Mason. You can't continue to do that. Preseason is supposed to work on things that you needed to work on. You keep saying it's vanilla. You're right. But as a Steelers fan, wanting to see improved defense, wanting to see improved offense, just not good, in my opinion. I need to see these guys get a defense stop, punt the ball, and drive their first play of offense down the field and score points, and not just 3 points. I need them when you're inside the red zone to get a touchdown. That's just my opinion, and that's not going to change. But again, Jamel Dean played one play. You didn't have a lot of your stars. Again, like I said, Landon Roberts played pretty good on defense. So we got good depth at our defense. Carson Bruner had a sack. Jack Sawyer had sack. Excited to see them guys. Do you think that Carson Bruner makes this team, Dees? Do you think he makes this team?
I do. I do. I think they're going to carry 5 linebackers. And I think if there was any question prior to this game, I think Bruner might have solidified his spot, not only because he played very well from the inside linebacker position, but he's also a ace on special teams as a rookie last year. So I think that that and the fact that he got out there and made some plays on the defense is really going to help his case. Again, this all goes back to that quarterback situation. There is a position group that is going to suffer if we go with 4 quarterbacks, and that's one to look at. You got the inside linebackers and then the safety / corners. Somebody, somebody's going to lose out on a guy that should be on an NFL roster, whether it's somebody like Bruner or it's somebody like Dominique Slaughter or Robert Spears Jennings. The better that these guys do in these preseason games, the tougher it's going to be to sneak them away on the practice squad because we have to make room for a fourth quarterback.
Yeah. Adam always saying some shit about Pittsburgh. Hey, maybe you guys should concentrate on see who your guys' quarterback is, and don't have number 4 walk back out on the field.
Speaking of shitty quarterbacks,
yeah. I mean, dude, he got booed every time he went out on the field, and it's getting to him because in his press conference he said he would much rather play 17 away games than to play any more games in that stadium. He said it's personal. The Browns,
that's not going to earn him any favor with the fans. I mean, if they name him starter, which at this point, looking at the 2 games that he's played, I don't know how you could name Deshaun Watson starter.
Let me ask you this, Deez. This is going into his 4th year out of his 5th year contract. He's played 21 regular season games. He hasn't been good for the Browns. If you're the organization and the fans absolutely hate him, do you take your loss with the contract and try to trade him, release him, or what?
This season, I don't think, and I'm not 100% sure. Maybe Adam knows.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah, I don't know that. For one, I don't know anybody that would trade for him. That contract is untouchable. So I think that they ride it out this season. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they have some outs with what they've done moving stuff around after the season. I think that they have an out to where they don't just completely get smoked by the dead money. So I think he's on the team no matter what, because nobody's trading for that contract.
Can you work out a buyout with him, though, to buy him out of his contract and let him just walk?
No, because it's still, I mean, you might as well have him, because what are you going to do? Like, at least he's an NFL experienced quarterback. There's nobody out there that you're going to pick up that is going to come in and be better than Deshaun Watson, in my opinion. You know, so you let it ride. He's your backup. And then at the end of the season, you cut bait and eat whatever's left on his cap. But I don't think that they have an out with him this season.
Here's my opinion on that. And I said this before and I'll say it again. And I know this is Steelers show and we're talking about Browns AFC North. So I don't think as a coaching staff or a franchise that you can allow that guy to be back out on the field. Do not let him walk out on the field day one as your starter inside or in Brown Stadium or whatever they call it now, Huntington Bank Field, whatever the sponsor name is. You can't do it. You're going to have to find a way to cut ties with this guy. Either eat the contract, release him, see if any team's stupid enough to trade for him, because there probably are a couple teams that are stupid enough to trade for him and take on that money. Dude, just watching the press conference, I think it's hilarious personally because he absolutely hates the fans of Cleveland. And you know who's at fault of this? The organization for what they did and brought this guy in. It was doomed from the beginning. You guaranteed this guy $230 million on a 5-year deal. And Baker's probably laughing about this, watching this press conference after the game. You cannot walk that guy out as your quarterback. I don't think he should be on the roster. That's just my opinion. You're going to have to eat the loss yourself.
I agree with your point, but at the end of the day, the business side of it says you can't just throw that money away. There is not a general manager / owner in the NFL dumb enough to trade for him. So that's not happening. Now they might try and pick him up once he get cut in the offseason, but I doubt even that. I think the negative publicity that he has is far outweighing whatever skill set he still has in his bag, which so far it doesn't look very good. It's like the guy completely forgot how to play quarterback, but it's a mental game. And once it's like any other sport where you see all of a sudden a player that isn't necessarily old, but it's kind of like the yips, you can't get over that mental hurdle. And like my cuz there, my lit sig says, this might be the last time we ever see Deshaun Watson in the NFL, because once Cleveland shit cans him after this season, I don't know what a team that's going to take a risk on him unless it's some kind of emergency situation that they got to have a healthy arm. It's going to be hard to justify bringing him into an NFL camp next year, especially with the tape that he's putting on right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, man. I really don't. You look at his stats from the last 3 years. He played 7 games in 2022, his first year with the Browns, 7 games in 2023, 7 games in 2024. Last year he had, or 2 years, was it? Yeah, 2 years ago he played. That was 2024, his last time out on the field. He passed for 1,148 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. His high as a Browns starting quarterback touchdowns per season is 7, and that was 22 and 23. You cannot put that guy back on the field. This guy does not need to be on your roster. I think if he's on your roster and you got a new coach with Todd Monken, and they said Monken's tough on these guys, he really is. I mean, that's all reports. And Adam is right. Miami may be stupid enough to take Watson. Could possibly. Keep an eye on that. I think that this has reached its boiling point in Cleveland with Watson, him being on the roster. I think you have to cut ties with this guy immediately. You cannot trot this guy back out on your field. You cannot. You can't.
The only problem with that is, have you seen Dylan Gabriel play this preseason? Like, you got nobody. You got Shador, who I don't necessarily believe in either. But then literally it's Shador, Deshaun, and Dylan Gabriel.
Okay, well then here you go. They got Taylor Green, who they drafted, who they're high on, who people want to see, who's actually going to play game 3. But if Pittsburgh, if Mason or Drew is your second or third quarterback, you got Mason there for a trade. Mason will go there, be a backup, and I mean, I don't know. Give us a 6-round for Mason.
No, get that. No, you get that dumb fucking idea out of your head. No, I haven't seen shit from Will or Drew that Mason.
I'm just saying.
Mason is my backup quarterback. I don't give a fuck if Will Howard comes out and throws 14 touchdowns next week. Mason is my fucking quarterback. Number 2.
I agree. But again, if you get a deal that knocks your socks off and you think you got your quarterback in the future with who's ever fighting for third, I mean, I agree. Mason settled the number 2 spot yesterday. There's no way that one of them 2 guys are taking over the 2 spot. No way.
Especially the way the right side of the line played. Aaron's going to die. I definitely don't want anybody but Mason as my backup as of right now. And I don't anticipate that changing. But again, people that listen probably think I hate Will Howard, and I don't. I like the kid. I just haven't seen it yet that he is going to be franchised. The arm talent isn't there, and then the decision making that he showed this week, he's still got a little growing to do. Not completely writing him off, but gun to my head, I'm more excited about Drew Aller than I am Will Howard right now.
And you talk about people making mistakes over and over again, Dees. You brought this up earlier about Roman Wilson, man. Another mistake made by him, not running the proper route or not getting to where he needs to be for Will to make the play. Do you think that this coaching staff keeps that in the back of their mind and they might have to move on from him and look at another veteran wide receiver that may become available? I know that Hopkins is still available out there. Juju Smith-Schuster is available out there. Do you think that they look at that option, maybe try to release Roman or whatever? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, Juju's hurt. That was he was released with an injury designation. I don't know how hurt he is, but it wasn't that Roman ran the wrong route. He just, instead of bringing it across the field, he drifted. And again, yes, he drifted. The route was sloppy, but both of those balls that Will threw were intercepted where he threw it, if Roman actually ran a flatter route, the ball is 2 yards behind him. If you go back and watch the slow-mo, when he starts and he's made his decision to throw that ball, the ball's going where the ball ends up going. And if Roman actually ran the route the way that it's supposed to be ran, the ball's way behind him, and the DB is waiting on it. And that first one where the safety Cisco came up, like he read that play from the very beginning because Will telegraphed it. He was watching Roman come all the way across the field and just kind of weakly threw it up there, and that dude had a running start at it. So
I know
but
Adam.
yeah,
I know Adam's big on Roman Wilson, said that we haven't used him properly. But let me ask you this question, Dees. He was in the Jim Harbaugh offense in Miami, or not Miami, in Michigan. Do you think that maybe he was a victim of their offensive scheme in college and he just doesn't get the NFL game? Do you think that's the problem with Roman?
I mean, it could be. I don't know. Maybe he had a little more room to freelance, but I'll tell you this: if that continues going forward, we already know Aaron will tell them to get him the fuck off the field. Like Jeremy Bernard will take that job quickly. So this week will kind of be interesting to see what they do, whether or not DK and Pittman play. At this point, I would say no. But Roman, I don't think they're going to cut him. I don't think that bringing in Juju or old ass DeAndre Hopkins is the solution either. You watch the waiver wire, there might be somebody there, especially if they feel confident in Jeremy Bernard. But he's definitely got to step his game up a little bit. For as good as everybody said he was in camp so far in 2 preseason games, haven't seen it.
Yeah, dude, I need to see more from him because I think we hyped him up a little bit too this year with the new offense and number change, all that. I think each week he is less and less on this roster moving forward. And that's bad because he was pretty good in college, and I would like to see him do good in Pittsburgh, but I think it's ran its course with Roman Wilson with Pittsburgh. I think it's time for us to move on from him. We've seen enough. And I hate to say that for the kid because he's talented, but does he really get the NFL game?
I'll say this in his defense. Better passes. He's open. He's got separation. The passes, they were behind him and they were telegraphed. But I think if that's Aaron throws that thing on a rope and puts it, even though it might not be where he's supposed to be.
That's fair.
He had separation. Maybe he felt that he had that separation and he was like, hey, let me get up the field. Either way, can't do that. You got to run the crisper routes. But as the quarterback, you can't, if you're going to make that throw, get it out in front of him. Don't throw it where he's at. And I think that's what Will was doing. He needs to throw it where he's going to be. And then it's either not caught or it's Roman Wilson. Whereas the way he threw that ball, Roman didn't have much chance to get it because it was literally like he was turning back for it when it should be out in front of him. And it was telegraphed and the DB was able to make a break on it. So I'm not taking fault away from Roman Wilson, but most of the fault goes into Will Howard, his decision, and the fact that the ball was not placed very well.
And thank you guys who are watching on YouTube. And Mark Malone said something a little bit earlier. He said, what happened to Shedeur? I think he's talking about Shedeur. He said, Shedeur. And then My Lit Cigarette said that as a Michigan fan, that's fair. He also said that Roman looked pretty good week 1. Rodgers and McCarthy both said that they did. But listen, that's camp. That's camp. That's not going against NFL talent or NFL.
No, week 1 of the preseason.
Yeah, week 1 of the preseason. But
yeah, he looks solid last week. He wasn't used as much as Jeremy, but I still think it's progress. I don't know that I'm ready to just shit can him for the simple fact that there's nothing out there right now that you can plug in and knows the offense, knows the personnel that's going to be better. Now, is he at risk of losing the number 3 spot to Jeremy Bernard once Bernard gets a little bit more of his sea legs under him in this offense? Absolutely. I think by a third of the way, if not sooner, I think you'll see Jeremy Bernard getting more reps at that slot position than Roman Wilson.
Listen,
I just don't know anybody out there that you bring in that you're going to replace him with.
I was excited about Roman when he drafted him because the plays that he made, and at Michigan, but he really hasn't transitioned to a good NFL wide receiver. And is it the victim of the Arthur Smith offense and not having, but even Rodgers said it last year during his rookie season. He did not run the routes the proper way. And hopefully
this is
year,
third year.
Well, his third year, I'm sorry, 2 years underneath Arthur Smith. And it's just, I don't know, man. I'd like to see Roman do better. I hope he does. I hope he makes this roster, but it's not looking good. Now let's get into this running back situation. We already know who 1 and 2 is. There's Rico Dowdle and Jalen Warren, whatever, whoever's 1 and 2. They're fighting for the third back. Your guy, Caleb Johnson, had 10 carries this past week. You talked about that. I think it was last week. You wanted to see, or pregame Friday, you wanted to see him get more than 2 carries. He got 10. He looked pretty decent. Your thoughts
with the bad offensive line.
Yeah, with a bad offensive line. Your thoughts of him making this team. Are you comfortable with him being your third back?
Right now, I would be, because again, you've got what looks to be a solid 1-2. Travis Homer, again, if all he can do is be your punt protector, to me, that's not enough to make this roster. Caleb Johnson, let's be honest. Jalen Warren has, I don't think, played a complete season where he has not gotten banged up and missed a few games. I would feel right now, as far as what's on the roster and what I've seen, I'd feel best about Caleb Johnson being my 1-2 with Rico, or if Rico were to go down with Jalen, than any other running back. Eli Heidenreich hasn't shown me shit. I think he's a practice squad guy. Not saying that he won't ever play in the NFL. I just don't think he's NFL ready. Lou Nichols looked decent in week 1. Didn't really do much in this one, but I think that's because they mostly were focused on Caleb. I think this next game, I want to see a heavy dose of Caleb. I'd like to see Caleb with the ones for a couple series, maybe even throw Lou Nichols out there for a couple series and make your decision there. As far as I'm concerned, those are your 2 guys that are fighting for RB3, in my opinion. I like Caleb, but Caleb proved to be a guy that gets better as he progresses. I think Caleb would do a lot better if he was a guy you could get 15 touches to. I think the more that he kind of wears the defense down, he's going to look better. So we'll see what's going to happen with that.
Ryan says they need to use all 3 running backs this year and get Darnell Washington and Dan Ball. I don't disagree with you there.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with you there. But
Muth. I mean, I think we'll see Muth.
And you know what else I noticed in this game, D's? We are fucking going to the middle of the field with these passes. I like that. I really like that.
Classic West Coast offense. I mean, it's slants, drags, mesh routes. I mean, you're going to see that all season long. It's going to open some things up. We're really vanilla right now. Offensive line, again, definitely needs to step it up. But once we get the big boys out there, Aaron, DK, Michael Pittman, Muth, Darnell, that I'm not super concerned about the offense as a whole. I am concerned about the right tackle position, but I think once we get our full complement of guys out there, I think this offense is going to be able to move the ball, even if it's a quick style game, because of the fact that right side of the offensive line is still a little shaky. I think you're still going to be able to get Muth the ball over the middle. Darnell, you're going to get, Michael Pittman will die to make a catch for you. And then you got big play capability from Bernard, from DK. Riley Nowakowski continues to impress.
I was going to
ask
you about that. Do you think he solidified his place as the starting fullback on this team?
1,000,000%. And not only that, but he also plays special team. Riley Nowakowski is as safe on this roster as Aaron Rodgers. Like they love what he can do, because he's Connor Hayward, but a much better version of it. There's no question that if he's healthy, Riley is on this team, and I think that they're going to utilize him.
And do you think that they're obviously going to keep Tunyon? He's going to be your third back.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be your third tight end. Riley will be your fourth if you need him. So if they do a 4 tight end set, 3 tight end set, you might see swap out between Tunyon and Nowakowski at certain situations. You'll see that.
Yeah, 100%. I did see somebody notice or say that there's a possibility that, again, this all revolves around this fucking quarterback quandary that we have, that they might try and sneak Tunyon on the practice squad. But man, he's looked good in 2 preseason games. I don't know that you can, although he is a vested veteran. So if they were to release him, I don't believe he goes to waivers because he's on a 1-year deal. So if they release him, he's a free agent. He could choose to come back. Maybe Aaron slides him a couple $100,000 under the table, says, don't sign with anybody. Just come to the practice squad. We'll activate you, when we need you. But that is a potential outcome.
I think he makes this roster. I do.
I do too.
And you talk about the fullback position. We have an active fullback position with Nowakowski. I think he makes it as your starting fullback if needed. And you can put Tunyon back there too if you need him in situations. Both great blockers. You've seen what you got from Nowakowski. I didn't know much about the guy when he was in college at Indiana, won national championship, but I like what I see from him. And again, Dees, you're right. He can play special teams. So that's key. That's key. If you can play both sides of the ball, or 2 or 3 sides of the football, you're golden in the NFL. And I'm glad, or I like what I see with Nowakowski. I think he makes this roster as our fullback / 4th tight end.
Yeah, and we also know that they've been using Darnell at fullback in practices, so I think that they're working some kind of package with him in there, whether it be goal line or just a little.
Could you see that a 325-pound, 6'7" fullback on the goal line? That's golden. If you don't fucking score a touchdown with that, then there's something wrong. There's something wrong.
Yeah, no, hand him the ball and just push the pile, because we see what he can do when he's got the ball in his hands. The man is a mountain. I know it won't happen, but you know what I would think would be fucking hilarious to see on a goal line situation? Y.A. Black is your fullback, Darnell Washington is your tailback, and just hand it to Darnell and tell him to run behind Y.A. Black. Who the fuck is stopping that?
I mean,
that's 650 pounds of man coming at you.
You never know what they can do, because didn't Cam line up in the backfield last year when Connor was back there during the tush push or whatever?
Cam was there was one, I don't remember. Darnell was hurt.
Yeah,
Darnell was primarily the pusher. Yes. Darnell got hurt, so they had Cam in there, and Cam fucking smoked his brother and pushed him in the end zone. But yeah, something like that. But instead, put Darnell taking the snap and have Y.A. Black just drive his big ass in the end zone.
Yeah, dude. Especially if you're at the 1 and you're trying to get in. Who is stopping that?
I don't see how you can stop it. I mean, especially behind Zach Frazier with the way that he's playing, you running right behind Zach Frazier and McCormick on the left side of the ball being snapped, with Y.A. Black as your pusher or your lead blocker with big ass Darnell Washington. That's a lot of man that you got to try and bring down in a short time.
I agree. All right, Dees, we got about 2 minutes left to go in the show. You want to reveal who our guest is next week?
Yes, next week. And hopefully many, many times during the season, we are going to be joined once again by a Super Bowl champion, member of the 2008 Pittsburgh Steelers, tight end and fullback, Sean McHugh. Excellent guy. I don't know if you guys didn't see him when we had him on a few weeks back, but the guy knows ball. He loves to talk ball, so he's going to join us. And we'll break down the final preseason game, probably give our final 53-man projections. And, a lot of questions are going to be answered between now and then. And there's probably going to be a few that aren't answered, and we'll have to try and figure it out. But it's going to be exciting.
Oh, I'm excited about it. Sean was great the last time he was on. Looking forward to having him on again. And moving forward, like Dee says, we don't know when he'll be on. We'll let you guys know each and every week. I know he said it'll be hit or miss throughout the season, but we're hopefully have him on maybe 50% of the time through the season. If you get him on once or twice, we're blessed with that. As much time as we can get with him, we're blessed. But appreciate all you guys out there tuning in today. Everybody in the comments, everybody watching. Make sure you guys like and share the show. And also, if you guys are looking for a beer on Sunday, make sure you guys go get an Outlaw Light, official beer sponsor of Redline Radio. Get yourself an Outlaw Light and tag yourself, Redline Network, Outlaw Light, for some free beer. And make sure you guys fucking do Willie's challenge. He's trying to get people to pay to get into the racetrack. if you Stone Cold Steve Austin 2 of these. So send a video to Willie over there, who does a show here on Wednesday nights from 7 to 8:30 over on it's called Tight End Loose Out, a super modified show. And then make sure you stick around at 12 o'clock. I'll be live from the studio over at the mall with Dana and Clifton, and we'll be talking about mental health. So make sure you guys check that out. Dees, appreciate you for joining us here each and every Sunday. We'll be back next week, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good week. Dees, send us off.
All right, folks. Like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. We'll see you next week.
You're watching the Red Line Radio Network.